How tired are you of being tracked online for advertising purposes? I go to pretty extreme lengths to mitigate it. On the edge of my network I've set up Pi-hole with a bunch of block lists to block trackers and ads at the DNS level, along with distributing upstream DNS queries across a number of DNS over HTTPS servers to prevent ISPs or DNS server operators getting a full picture of traffic. When away from home, my phone and laptops still access the internet via my home network thanks to a VPN setup, so I can enjoy the safety of that network. Extensions like Privacy Badger, Public Origin and such like on browsers to get anything the DNS blocks miss. I've a habit of just making new email accounts for everything and managing them via an email client. Not hard once you get into the flow of it. If I no longer intend to use an online service, I send them a data request to get all the data they have on me, followed by a delete my shit request. Both rights afforded to me by GDPR. I do a bunch of other stuff alongside that, but those would be the main ones. Same here with VPN with Tracker. You want to get my data? Okay, but under my terms. You want my data? Go get it. Street smarts. Not as tired of that as I'm of being tracked for data we don't yet know what for future uses collection purposes. Yeah, I feel as though there is something to this. These companies had been at this for years before we started to understand it. I'm somewhat certain they are still miles ahead of what we know publicly. Seriously, this is a public policy discussion we need to start now. Once our data is being used to power the coming automation revolution, we'll be left holding a cheap phone while Zuck and his few oligarchical buddies own the entire global means of production. I don't mind the internet. As many ads as they please. I do know YouTube needs to calm their ass down. Exactly. They went from one per video to like an ad every 2 minutes. Makes me want to learn how to hack and stop them. 1 hour ago. Greater than sign. I don't mind the internet. As many ads as they please. I do K. They now have 2 unskippable ads that are 10 and 5 seconds each. The worst is when you go in the shower watching a video from your favorite subscriber and then the ducking 8-minute long ad shows up and ruins everything. I can't think of anything more infuriating than mid-video ads. Before you watch, click the timeline at the end and hit replay. It erases all the ads. This bug will probably be taken away soon though knowing YouTube. Very. Can you make it stop? I have a Pi-hole. It helps immensely. I too have one. But setting it up with my router is a pain. Since I can't change the DNS manually without hacking the shit out of it and installing incredibly specific custom firmware, best I've done is changing the settings on every individual device I own. Will agree though that it is immensely nice to have. When I do have it working, I would always set it up for individual devices, not as the DHCP default. Gives you more flexibility. Google using my search history to give me targeted ads. That's manageable. Facebook app listening to my conversations is straight up crooked. That's what needs to stop. I won't actually care, but Facebook is so generic with its targeted advertising. It sees I'm a female in my 30s so it's constantly trying to sell me baby stuff or prenatal stuff. Duck off and show me more cats. There's an add-in/extension you might like called Ad Nauseam. It tricks all the blocked ads and tracking services on the page into thinking you've clicked on them, which drains the advertising account of whoever is paying for the ads, messes up the reliability of click-through statistics for the advertising companies themselves, and spams any data collection about you with a torrent of false positives. Google seems to dislike it enough to remove it from the extension hub without reason, automatically uninstalling it from 60,000 people's computers in the process. So it's probably doing something irritating for them at least. This is why I don't use Google products, as is their half-cooked betas and good ones are what Google bought. Even Bing is a better engine than Google, or DuckDuckGo. Sadly some Google products are unavoidable like Yahoo Mail once you have it, albeit I do have a Yahoo Mail. I find the invasion of privacy disturbing. I find it even more disturbing that the majority of responses that are okay with it. Surveillance capitalism's goal is to control our behavior and that should concern everyone. The tech giants are dictating an unprecedented transformation of society with a complete lack of oversight, and that is intolerable. I'm tired of having to uncheck cookies each time. More annoyingly, if I forgot to check them off at Amazon so I get ads exclusively for stuff I recently bought. That's not how you make money. That's why I have the Firefox extension, Cookie Auto Delete. I'm tired of that stuff too, and this useful extension deletes all your cookies. You can also go to the browser settings and enable that all cookies will be deleted after you close the browser. Ad blocker. Never leave home without it. These ducks should be paying us for selling our _info and using DuckDuckGo. It's a little slower, at least for me, but it has dark mode and is good for privacy. It is a concern. I have found that the best way to begin to combat this is to live a lie online. For instance, I'm a dog, and yet here you would believe I'm a people. I'm actually a tuna sandwich. I live this lie every day. I'm more annoyed at political texts, like random ads on the side of internet pages is fine. But why do you have my number, and why are you using it to make me vote for you? Exclamation mark. Question mark. Exclamation mark. What I really hate are the constant ads I get for AOC for the simple reason of I'm not her constituent, so stop asking me for money. Enough to have deleted social media. Isn't Reddit considered social media? Depends if you think bots are people. What is this people you speak of? It's all an LOLCIEIOON. I only wish they did a better job at knowing what I'm interested in. I have Facebook pretty fine-tuned now cause they let me say why I hate specific ads, but YouTube really keeps missing the mark. Today I was watching a podcast where someone was talking about their current and very sad struggle with addiction. Then an obnoxious Domino's ad comes on. Read the room. Exclamation mark. Exclamation mark. The nearest Domino's is 35 miles from me. What's the point of having my location and all my data if you're not even going to use it? Question mark. Showing ads on websites is kind of a necessary evil. The problem I have with tracking is when I visit a retail site one time, don't buy anything, and never enter any sort of personal info, but a couple hours later I get spam from them along the lines of, hey, we noticed you looked at product X, you better act now, or the price might go up, apostrophe. Or the time a few weeks ago when I mentioned a medical condition in a thread on this site and the email address I used to sign up started getting spam messages about treatments for that medical condition the next day. I'd never mentioned it before, never googled anything about it, and never gotten any spam about it. But one mention on this site and there come the emails. I keep getting oncology ads because of writing about having had cancer. I've been cured since 2013. And it's not even ads for the right cancer. I never told this, nor did I text or search about this. I thought it'd be good to get a moon cactus cause it's really cute. The very next day, I get an advertisement showing a moon cactus. Like seriously, you guys read minds? Question mark? Question mark? I'm just tired of them listening to me. Like I'll have a conversation with my wife about something, and then I'll have a ducking ad for it online. Never once looked the item up, and yet there it is, in an ad. That's usually from Messenger. If you allow microphone it can listen anytime. No, I don't use Facebook or Messenger or Instagram or Snapchat or Twitter. Reddit is my only form of social media. Same. It's creepy. Not sure who's listening, but someone definitely is. It's not actually a person. It's just software that listens for keywords. If that makes you feel better. I just whimpered out of uneasiness, and so did Alexa and Siri with me. I mind. Especially when this shit gets a hold of your microphone. Was talking to my friend today about visiting Vermont and an ad popped up this evening. It's happened several times. My wife was learning Spanish out loud on a phone app whilst I was on Facebook. This was a usual evening routine. After about a week I started getting adverts on Facebook in Spanish. Enough to use DuckDuckGo and block and watch out about my thoughts, because for some reasons these ads are reading my mind. I know it sounds crazy, but IDC, it makes my blood boil to this point. I remember when I had Facebook it always would suggest all these Canadian right-wing pages. despite never actually having any interest in them. Then I found all the information they got from third parties back from 2013. So then I just deleted that shit. Now all I got is some hipster dude waving at me on Reddit talking about mental health or something as a repetitive ad. I too fellow Canuck. I get that same ad. Maybe Reddit assumes most Canadians need help. I was eating Tostitos Chunky Salsa tonight and browsing YouTube. And I got an ad for Tostitos Chunky Salsa for the first time ever. I swear they could hear me crunching on the tortilla chips and generated the ad based on that noise. Now that you've typed the name of it, you'll see ads for it until the end of time. They're doing a crap job. I've bought some of the stuff, but still get ads for it. I mean, I literally have the items I don't need it advertised to me anymore. Also, Facebook. My cat died back in June. And I posted about it. Then FB starts popping up old pics of said cat. I still miss my kitty. And that doesn't help. If FB has such great algorithms, why can't it pick up on a death and avoid mention of it? I used to be annoyed. And when it comes to Facebook, I still am. Because I'm always getting really creepy wish ads. However, ads outside of Facebook have been generally really helpful for me. Because they made me discover mangas I ended up buying and loving. Because I'm always getting really creepy wish ads. I got one once for metal called Trots marketed as tire puncture triangles. Only from Wish. Facebook's creepier ads are the ones that target you based upon very recent changes to your life though. Back in 2012 Facebook thought I was gay as I'd always left relationship info blank and so often marketed me gay singles cruises and things like that. Then I started dating someone. She basically didn't use Facebook, but Facebook worked it out. Almost immediately. Facebook literally knew we were sleeping together before her housemate and best friend figured it out. Facebook's algorithms are insanely good, particularly for identifying social relationships. There are entire teams behind the scenes that basically work on just identifying these relationships, even if they weren't explicitly marked in somebody's profile. Public origin. YouTube advanced for mobile devices. Also a piehole as a network-wide DNS sinkhole for telemetrics/tracking and ads. Will take me a full shift ignoring my work duties to research all this bottom down. I'm still amazed on how much they can hear. About a week ago or so I was talking to my parents about my friends. In this whole 30 to 40 minutes conversation, I said something about a friend's brother-in-law living in Kenya for work for almost 15 years now. This must not have taken more than 10 seconds. After 2 days, I started getting ads for learning Swahili. I had a similar experience. My wife was learning Spanish on a phone app, and in the same room I was browsing Facebook. This went on for like a week of this being an evening routine. And suddenly I started getting 1 or 2 adverts in Spanish. They'll use identifiers or things like IP address and assign it to a household ID for devices in your household. It's a common trick to try and say there isn't individual level data, as there could be any number of people in a household, so we don't actually know who's their slasher. Not very. I'd much rather see advertisements for a sports car than advertisements for some kid's toy. A lot of advertisements you see are about your internet browsing history. You look up cars and you'll most likely see ads about cars. Honestly, whatever. At the end of the day it's providing sites with revenue that keep them free and keep them operating. Yeah, I agree. Weirdly though, I kind of miss completely random ads from back in the day though. The stuff in wanting to buy already lives rent free in my head. So seeing random ads is more fun. I love sending Yata Bono's stream of defective consciousness runs, where it just sort of randomly picks songs. After 2 or 3 picks it's departed from anything I might actually listen to or want to listen to, and eventually it's found in a bass song and flip-flops between 2 variants or some Linkin Park song with dozens of variants, and seems quite content with itself. Back when I believed that me watching the ads was the actual product, I was fine with it. Not so much after I realized that the ads is just an excuse to track everything I do online, and seeing how much effort sites go through just to make it as hard as possible to opt out, while still being able to say that it's optional. It makes me angry, and it kinda creeps me out sometimes. Don't really care. Can't afford any of it anyway. It ain't much, but have a bit of gold. Better days ahead for you, I hope. Not in the slightest. Because I don't see anything. Because I have an ad blocker and can't fathom how any person alive doesn't know about them at this point. It's pretty easy to use a cookie blocker like Ghostery and set your browser to delete all cookies when you exit the browser. There was a time maybe 5 years ago where I think we could at least talk about how it's annoying. Today in 2020 I'm more surprised when I run into an app/site that isn't tracking me. There's no escape anymore. No turning back. Ads are here to stay forever, unfortunately, in some shape or way or form. It scares me. My neighbor was talking about cat food, and then a few days later I start getting cat food ads. I'm sure there is so much more I don't even notice. I squirrel a lot, meaning my ideas and thoughts jump all over the map some days, and often I forget short-term information. If I'm looking something up to purchase, for instance, and leave the site before adding the item to my cart, sometimes Facebook will give me an ad for what I was looking at beforehand. It can be creepy and inconvenient at times, but more often than not it's very helpful for my ridiculously forgetful ass. Haha. I only really use Reddit and YouTube. Reddit's alright. I find things I'm actually interested in. Or just scroll past. YouTube on the other hand, I don't know how. I don't know why. But I seem to get a lot of ads in French. Don't follow any French YouTubers. Watch anything in French. Don't even understand it. The only minor connection I have is that I'm Canadian. But I live nowhere near any French speaking areas. It used to piss me off, but now I don't really care. If they paid me to use my information, I'd be fine with it. Otherwise, it's annoying. I swear. At home I get all the useful ads. But at school it all turns into pervy anime stuff on random computers that I've never logged into. They're trolling me. I'm torn. On the one hand, I recently graduated within the last several years with a tech degree in information science, so I sort of understand the entire process of tracking for the purposes of advertising. On the other hand, I graduated college about 18 years later than most people my age, which means I'm sort of old. Old enough to have originally been in college when there was no internet. So since I'm old, that shit freaks me out. Makes me want to go off grid and delete my digital footprint. Then I realize that's impossible, so I stay ignorantly bliss playing games and watching YouTube. The most annoying thing about targeted addies. Let's say I'm looking for a cheese grater online. I find one, buy it, and the product is getting sent to me. For the next 3 months I will get ads for awesome cheese grater. Well, thank you, but I already got one. Hey PSSST. Please subscribe and like.